In this tutorial, we're going to be creating a zipatone pattern in Photoshop. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to create a shape within that layer, and I'm going to fill that shape with a gradient. So I'm going to click on the gradient icon. I'm going to make sure that I'm going from one solid color to another solid color on the gradient. And then I'm going to hit D on the keyboard to give me a pure black and a pure white. And I'm just going to gradiate from one tone to another. So I'm going from black to white and then the transition in between. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect. You can also go up to select right up here at the top of the Photoshop drop-down menus and click on deselect, Command D right here. From here, I'm going to start messing around with the image modes. Right now, I'm in RGB color mode. I'm going to take this into grayscale. It really doesn't matter if I flatten or not. So I'm just going to click on flatten. I'm going to discard all the color information. From here, I'm going to go back to image mode, and I'm going to click on bitmap. I want to keep the input and the output the same. I don't want to mess around with that. And under here, under method use, I'm going to click on halftone screen. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now I have a few more choices that I need to make, as well as different shapes that I can choose to make this zipatone pattern out of. I'm going to click on round. Let's change the frequency from 53 to 25. 45 degrees sounds just fine to me, so I'm going to click OK. And I'm just zooming in to show you what I've just done. I've created a zipatone pattern. I think that this pattern right here might be a little bit too fine for what I might use it for, so I'm going to hit Command Z. So I'm going to step back in the history by hitting Command Z. You can also get to the history by clicking on this button right here, the history icon, and you can simply go back in your history. Or if your Photoshop does not have this history icon open, you can always go to Window, scroll down, and make sure that history is checked. And then you can adjust your history from there. So I'm going to go back to image mode. I'm going to go back to grayscale, going to flatten, going to discard the color. Again, image mode, bitmap. The input and the output are the same. This right here might not seem like a big deal at the time, but I'm going to do some other tutorials that will really play in with these right here, the input and the output being the same. Going to make sure that method use halftone screen is clicked. I'm going to click OK. And for frequency, I'm going to change it to 10. That's more like it. Much larger zipatone pattern. More of what I had in mind. But I want to go back in the history again by hitting Command Z and just experimenting with the different types of patterns that we can create. Seen some pretty good stuff done with a pattern like this right here. Diamond pattern. Now, under bitmap mode, we really don't have all that many options. So, you're going to want to change this from a bitmap to grayscale. Keep the size ratio at 1. And then change it to RGB or CMYK or whatever you might be using. At this point, I'm going to click on the magic wand tool. You might have the quick selection tool selected, so if you want to use the magic wand tool, which is a tool I'm going to be using for this, you just hold down with your mouse, click on the magic wand tool, and I'm going to unclick contiguous right up here at the top. And then I'm going to click on the black area of this zipatone pattern. And I'm going to hit Command C or copy, and then I'm going to hit Command V or paste. Now, when I did that, it dropped my pasted selection on a new layer. But if you see me turning on and off this layer, there's really no change in what you're seeing in Photoshop. That's because this background layer still has the zipatone pattern on it. So I'm going to fill this background layer with white. Right now I have the foreground. This box right over here is black. The background right over here is white. I'm going to click on this little arrow in between the two to make the foreground white. And then I'm going to go up to Edit, Fill, and I'm going to fill this background with the foreground color. That way, I turn on and off this layer right here, the zipatone layer, and all of my pixels are isolated to that layer. There's nothing on the background layer but white. Now let's say I want to color this layer right here. Well, I'm going to lock the transparent pixels, which is this very first lock command. It looks kind of like a checkerboard. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to grab a brush. I'm going to select a color. Going to increase the size of my brush. And I can color my zipatone pattern with the transparent pixels locked. Now, if you happen to want to erase any of this zipatone pattern with the transparent pixels locked, you really can't do it. What will happen is instead of erasing the pixels, it will add your background color right here instead of getting rid of the pixels. So if you want to actually get rid of any of these pixels, you need to click on this transparent pixel lock right over here. So you no longer have the lock icon, and then you can actually erase the pixels.